The text came at 2:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. I was reviewing quarterly reports when my phone buzzed. I need 1 week to think if you're worth keeping. Lydia. My wife of 8 years had just reduced our marriage to a performance review. I stared at the message, feeling something cold settle in my chest. Not anger, something sharper, more calculated. I found Lydia Brennan Kowalski in our kitchen, aggressively chopping vegetables like she was preparing for war. Without looking up, I pulled out my phone and dialed our bank. Yes, this is Garrett Kowalski. I need to remove Lydia Brennan from our joint checking account immediately. Her knife stopped mid-chop. Account number is 4-4-7-8-9-2-1-1, I continued, watching her face in my peripheral vision. Security question? My first pet's name was Buckwheat. "What the hell are you doing?" she hissed, lunging for my phone. I calmly stepped back, continuing my conversation. "Also, I'll need to change the access codes on our investment portfolio. Yes, I'll hold." "Since you're watching me do this," I said, meeting her shocked stare, "consider it your real test drive of life without me." The next call was to our shared gym membership. Each cancellation was surgical, deliberate. Lydia stood frozen, realizing I wasn't going to beg or negotiate. I was treating her ultimatum like the business transaction she'd made it. Over the next 3 days, I moved with quiet precision, opening my own bank accounts, transferring funds, photographing titles, insurance policies, and tax records. I scanned everything to a private encrypted drive. I also scheduled a consultation with Morrison & Associates, a firm known for dismantling messy divorces like clockwork. If Lydia wanted to evaluate me, she'd get the full experience of what losing me actually meant. Thursday night, she tried her next move, an ambush with reinforcements. Derek, from her yoga class. Tall, wiry build, the kind of mindful minimalist look you see in boutique coffee shop ads. His smile was overly polished, practiced for social media likes. He was already in my seat at the head of the table when I walked in. "Garrett, right?" Derek said, leaning back like he owned the place. "Lydia's told me so much about you." Over dinner, he kept testing boundaries with surgical precision. My corporate mindset, my emotional unavailability, how I probably didn't appreciate what I had. Lydia laughed in the wrong places, watching for a reaction. I drained the last of my wine, set the glass down, and stood. My footsteps were deliberate as I moved behind his chair. My hand came down on his shoulder, not heavy, not threatening, just immovable. "You think I don't know why you're here?" I said, voice calm, a smile on my face that never touched my eyes. "Just remember, in this house, I play by my rules." I shifted his chair a fraction closer to the table, enough to make him aware of the space I controlled. The tension in his shoulders gave way, his once straight posture sagged. He glanced at Lydia, muttered something about an early start tomorrow, and was gone before the plates were cleared. Friday brought the intervention. Lydia's mother, sister, and best friend arrived in formation, their faces set like a jury ready to hand down a verdict. They took the couch opposite me, purses perched on their laps like shields. I reached into my pocket, pulled out my phone, and set it on the coffee table. The voice recorder app glowed red. "Everything you say will be recorded for my lawyer," I said evenly. "Please, continue." The temperature in the room dropped. Their righteous posture softened, voices lowered. I leaned forward and began laying out my evidence, one piece at a time, like a dealer controlling the table. First, a photo of Derek leaving our house midday when I was supposedly across town in a meeting. Then, screenshots of Lydia's messages to her sister about testing Garrett's commitment and pushing him to prove himself. Finally, time-stamped call logs and calendar entries showing her deliberate orchestration of every move. With each card I turned over, their expressions shifted, from accusation to confusion to something closer to unease. By the time I slid the last photo across the table, the only sound in the room was the faint hum of the refrigerator. The tribunal was silent, and now they were the ones fumbling for explanations. Saturday, one day before her deadline, I left without saying where I was going. My GPS tracker, the one Lydia insisted we share for safety, showed my route across town to Morrison and Associates' law office. Later, Lydia confessed she'd followed me, watched me walk out with a manila folder of documents. That was the moment, she said, when she realized I might actually be serious. Sunday arrived. Judgment Day. Lydia appeared in our bedroom doorway at dawn, mascara-streaked and desperate. "I was scared," she whispered. "I thought if I pushed you, you'd fight harder for us. I never meant—" "Get dressed," I interrupted. "We're going out for coffee." The cafe on Meridian was busy, anonymous, perfect for what I had planned. I chose a table in the center, surrounded by strangers, and placed a manila envelope on the surface between us. "You wanted a game of nerves?" I said, sliding divorce papers across the table along with a pen. "This is the final round." Lydia stared at the documents, her face pale. Around us, people chatted over lattes, oblivious to the marriage dissolving at table 12. "Whether you sign or I sign," I continued, standing to leave, "the result is the same. You have 10 minutes to decide if this was worth it." I walked to the counter, ordered another coffee, and watched her through the reflection in the window. She sat there for exactly 9 minutes, surrounded by the gentle chaos of Sunday morning, staring down at papers she never expected to see. When I returned to the table, the papers were unsigned and Lydia was crying. "I choose differently," she whispered. I sat down and picked up the pen. The week had taught us both something valuable. Respect isn't negotiable, and ultimatums are a game that everyone loses. Sometimes the only way to save a marriage is to be willing to end it.